Hello children, welcome to Neet World. This is Narayani, I am your foundation faculty. Right children, we are completed the first chapter of 8th standard CBSE crop production and management. Today we are starting the new chapter microorganisms friendly and foe from the 8th standard CBSE. Right children, before we are going to start the session, I have taken the very important news for you children. We have started the foundation course from the April 1st onwards. The first batch is already started children. The next batch is going to start from the April 15th onwards. So, do not miss this opportunity. Our main motto is the concepts, all concepts should be based on the exams of NEET and JEE. Right children, the concepts of the most important basic concepts of NEET and JEE examinations we are going to discuss about in detailed way for your better understanding. We are creating for you animations, videos for your better understanding children. So, the subjects we covered by us are physics, chemistry, mathematics and biology children. And children, the very main important thing, the one-on-one interactions will be there. All your doubts should be cleared by us. The most experienced teachers only, you are going to learn by them, right children? And also children, for the both SSC also and CBSE also we are providing the classes. And the mode of learning is through digital panel children, both offline also and online also. Who want to join through online, they can down streaming number is there, contact by that number with us. Thereby we can connect with you and give access to you to the app, right children? Our app name called Neet World. Those who want to study through offline, our institute name called Neet World, present in Hyderabad, Narayani G near metro station children. So, do not miss this opportunity, right children? So, let us start this session. So, we are discussing about the second chapter of, the second chapter of 8th standard CBSE. Microorganisms, friend and foe. So, the microorganisms are both friendly for us, useful for us and foe, which means for us, harmful also. So, we are learned through what are microorganisms, how it is useful to us and how the microorganisms are harmful to us. We can learn in this video very in a clear way, right children? So, do not be late, now we start the session. 1 minute, okay. So, what are microorganisms children? So, see, in a large number of organisms we see in day to day life. We see plants, animals, different kinds of animals and all that, right children? So, how the term microorganisms came from, right? Micro means small. Organisms means living beings, right children? So, the microorganisms are also the living beings. So, where you can see that in you are seeing the plants, animals, different kinds of living things, right? But did you see any time the microorganisms? No, right? Why you can't see the microorganisms? Because as the various organisms can visible to our eyes, but the microorganisms cannot visible to our aid, right children? So, microorganisms are the very smallest organisms which cannot see through our naked eyes. Those organisms we call it as microorganisms. So, why we can't see them with our naked eyes? Because they are single celled organisms, right children? We are multicellular organisms. Plants are multicellular organisms. The various animals like rabbits, deers, monkeys, they are all multicellular organisms. But the bacteria is microorganisms are very smallest organisms which cannot see through our naked eye. You can ask, madam, if we cannot see our naked eye, how you found that there are the microorganisms which cannot see our naked eye is present, right children? With the help of microscopes, we found that the microorganisms can see through they are existent. The unicellular organisms are existent, right children? Because as they are single celled organisms, we cannot see the naked eye, right children? For this, now how we will define if they asked what are microorganisms, why we call them microorganisms means, the word micro means small, smallest, right children? The word micro is small, right children? They are the smallest organisms because they are single celled organisms. because they are single cell. made up of only one cell. Right children? As they are single celled organisms, we cannot see the naked eye. Thereby, if they are given, define the microorganisms means what you will define? So, these are the microscopic. So, how you can see? Through microscope, right? So, they are the microscopic, single celled organisms, right children, which cannot be seen, through our naked eye, we call them those organisms as microorganisms or microbes. Right children, there we call it as microorganisms or microbes. Right children. The examples of these are bacteria, all unicellular organisms. Uni means one, single means, uni means they are unicellular organisms. What is meant by unicellular or single cell? Nothing but the same. Right children? Uni means one, single means one. Right children? So, they are called as unicellular organisms or multicellular organisms. Right children? If they asked you, define the microorganisms, what do you say? They are microscopic, single celled or unicellular organisms which cannot be seen at the naked eye. Those organisms we call it as microorganisms or microbes, children. Right children? How we can see with them? With the help of microscope. Right children? So, with the help of the microscope we discovered the microorganisms exist. So, there are the microbes which are able to see it in microscope only. So, who first discovered it? Anton von Leeuwenhoek. The scientist named Anton von Leeuwenhoek, he the first discovered the microorganisms are existed. With the help of the microscope, he said that the microorganisms can see with the help of the microscope only. Right children? Microorganisms are also called as microbes. Right children? The scientist who studied the microorganisms, we call them as microbiologists. Right children? The scientist who study about the microorganisms, we call them as microbiologists because they can be seen through only the microscope. Right children? So, microorganisms are single celled organisms or unicellular organisms. They are microscopic because which cannot see with our naked eye. Those organisms we call it as microorganisms or microbes. The scientist who studied about the microorganisms, we call it as microbiologist. Right children? The first, Anton von Leeuwenhoek, the scientist who discovered the cells first. Right children? With the help of the microscope. Right children? So, okay. As they are microorganisms, where they are present? Where they are found? Right children? Where they are found? They are found everywhere in the world. Not in one case, everywhere. It's in my hands, in my, in the digital panel, everywhere. The place we cannot say microorganisms are which cannot there. They are omnipresent. They are present everywhere. They are present in water, ponds, lakes, what not. In every place they are found. In the suitable environment conditions. We all know in the crop production what we learn. Microorganisms are more attended for the moisture regions, moist places. Right children? So, not only moist places, because they are the favorable conditions, they can able to grow more. Right children? But they can grow in adverse conditions also. In adverse conditions like in polar regions, adverse conditions like in polar regions, hot deserts, volcanic eruption areas, in whatever, they found everywhere. We cannot say the place where the microorganism does not exist. Right children? They are commonly found in air also, in everywhere. Right children? So, The study of microorganisms, we call it as microbiology, right children? The scientists who study the microorganisms, we call it as microbiologist, right children? They are found in everywhere. We cannot say the which bacteria is exceptional. We cannot say the place is not exist also, because microorganisms are present everywhere. They found in everywhere, right children? They found in air, water, land. But the most attentive, in the moist regions, in the moist places, they are more attentive. They can grow more, right children? The study of microorganisms, we call it as microbiology. The scientists who study the microorganisms, we call them as microbiologists. Microbiologist. In examination point of view, they are going to ask the question like, what are microorganisms? They are microscopic, single-celled organisms which cannot see through our naked eye. Those organisms, we call it as microorganisms or microbes, right children? The study of microorganisms, we call it as microbiology. And the scientists who study about the microbiology or the microorganisms, we call them as microbiologists, right children? See here they given with the help of microorganisms can seen through the microscope, right children? As we know, the biology is exceptional cases are more in number, right children? So as we say, we are saying that, see, this is the macroscopic organism. What is macroscopic? What is meant by macroscope? Macro means we can see the naked eye. We can see the naked eye. Can see the naked eye. As the biology has many exceptional cases, the bacteria, the microorganisms which can see our naked eye is, see, Theomargatia nabibiensis. This is the very good example of microscopic microorganism, right children? The microorganisms which can see the naked eye is the Theomargatia nabibiensis. This is as a comparative point of view, children. This is very important. So let's we discuss about the microscope, because why the microscope, through the help of the microscope only why we can see, as they are, we have to understand what is a microscope first. As they are, the microscope is a device which helps to see very smallest objects can clear way, right children, which enlarge the smallest organisms in a visible way. It magnifies the smallest organisms or smallest objects. So the smallest objects can be seen clearly with our naked eyes with the help of microscope, right children? Microscope is nothing but we can see the tiny objects, tiny organisms, cells and all that in a clearly way. So children, here they discussed, it makes tiny things appear larger and more clearer. We can observe their shape, we can observe their shape and structure clearly, right children? As the microscopes are used to see the plant cells, animal cells, bacteria and microorganisms. Mainly the microorganisms can be seen through the microscope, because the tiny objects appear very clearly in a very larger way, right children? We can analyze the shape, size and structure. There are two types of there are two types of microscopes. What are they? One is light microscope, children. Another one is electron microscope. One is light microscope, another one is electron microscope. So let's see for the light microscope, what are the key features of it, right children? What is light microscope? Light means, it can visible through light, either by the, if you place the microscope in the window, with the help of the sunlight we can see the, the smallest organ and the smallest tiny objects or cells, right children? So light microscope means is a type of microscope that uses visible light, and lenses to magnify the small objects. Right children, this is about this, the light microscopes are mostly used in schools, right children. In our colleges, schools, they used to have the light microscope, right children. Let's see this, the key features of the light microscope, right children. 1 minute. So let's see the key features of the light microscope, children. So what are the key features? What does the light microscope consist of, right children? It uses the, how the smallest tiny objects are appear in a larger way, because it uses the light to pass through the object. Here the place we want the object or the slide, we used to see the in a clear way, right children, through the magnifying glass here, through the magnifying glass with the help of sunlight, either the sunlight or the the light with the help of electricity. Through that we can see the objects through our naked eye, right children. It uses the light to pass through the object, or it has 2 or more lenses. You have 2 or more lenses. Here 3 are there, right children. 2 or more lenses are there to magnify the image, to it appears the very clear way. So it magnify the image and magnify up to 1000 times or more. The light microscope have the ability to see in the 1000 times or more. It mostly used in schools, colleges and laboratories. Right children? Helps in studying cells, microorganisms, tissues, plant cells, animal cells. The mostly widely used in schools, colleges and laboratories is light microscope. Right children? So what kind of uses from this light microscope? To observe the plant and animal cells, the light microscope is widely used. Right children? To study the microorganisms like bacteria, protozoa, the light microorganisms, with the help of the light, in the light microscope, we will see and observe the shape, structure and analyze how the characteristic features of that microorganisms or plant cells or animal cells. Right children? So this is about the light microscope, children. Coming to the next one, electron microscope. What is electron microscope? The word itself has the define this light electron microscope. What is the electron microscope? An electron microscope is a powerful than the light microscope. Types of microscope, that because it uses the electrons. The light microscope uses the light. The electron microscope uses the electron instead of light to view very smallest tiny objects. The features of the electron microscope is it uses the beam of electrons. That is why the name of the microscope has turned as a electron microscope. To form the image. To form the image in a very clear way, the beam of electrons are used. That is why the name of the electron microscope came into, they named the electron microscope. Can magnify up to 10 lakh times. See, the light microscope have magnify up to 1000 or more. Right children? 1000 or more. And coming to the electron microscope, see here, they can magnify up to 10 lakh more times, right children? So they show very tiny details like viruses, DNA and molecules. They show very tiny details like about the viruses, DNA and molecules. They found in very big research laboratories. They are not commonly found in the colleges, laboratories and in schools, because they are very costly and they are not used in the schools and colleges and laboratories. They used to in big research laboratories, right children? So in the research institutions, they are going to, we can able to know about the very more detailed in-depth way of the electron microscope, because they are present in that, and it is not seen in regular schools, colleges like that. So what is the uses of the electron microscope? To study the viruses, especially the cell details and the molecular structure, because of by knowing about the molecular structure of the cell of the plant, animal or viruses, we can able to develop the medicine that can prevent the diseases, right children? So it is used in medicinal field, biology and nanotechnology. This is how the electron microscope looks like, children. This is about the very key features and uses of both light and electron microscope, children. So let's see what are the differences, main differences between them. So see here, in light microscope and electron microscope, if they asked write any two uses or what are the key differences, so if they asked me, we have to say light microscope uses light, right children? So electron microscope uses electrons, beam of electrons. It magnifies 1000 or more times, right children? For the electron microscope, it magnified 10 lakh times. It is a 10 times of the light microscope, right children? It both shows very tiny objects in a very clear way, but it is used to know the cells, plant cells, microorganisms and all that, mostly to analyze the cell shape, structure and all that. With the help of electron microscope, we can study up to the molecular level, right children? So it used to know about the viruses, DNA and up to till molecular level, right children? So it is used in schools, colleges and laboratories, children. So here the electron microscopes are not widely used in the schools, laboratories and colleges, children, because they are very, they are used in the research field, research institutions. They are found in big research institutions. Thereby they used to develop the medicines to prevent the diseases, right children? So see here, the uses of the light microscope is to analyze the same cell shape structure. The uses of the electron microscope is used to medicine, biology and nanotechnology. For the medicine purposes, there are more amount, the microscope which is mostly used is electron microscope, right children? This is about the brief introduction of the both light and electron microscope, children. I hope you all clear about this light and electron microscope. So let's discuss based on the characteristics. So you are saying, madam, the microorganisms, how they can survive in adverse conditions also. In the way they cannot suitable also, how they are surviving, right children? Because the microorganisms are covered by the, cell wall. Because of that my smallest organisms also can affect this, the multicellular organisms like humans, plants and all that, right children? So the outer covering of the, if for example it is the outer covering, the outer covering of the microorganisms, we call it as cyst. Because of the cyst, they can survive in adverse conditions also. Adverse conditions also. They can survive alone also and also in groups. We call it as colonies. We call it as colonies. Because of this outer covering layer of the cyst, because of that they are able to, they are able to survive in the, they are able to survive in the field. Otherwise they will also be, vanish. But because of the cyst, the genetic material present in the bacteria, microorganisms are, safely being, because of the outer covering layer called cyst. That is why they are found in the polar regions also, hot deserts also, everywhere. Because of in the adverse conditions also they are surviving. In the polar regions, in the cracks of the floor of the sea or in the volcanic eruption areas, how they are surviving mean, they have the outer covering layer. We call it them the cyst. Because of that, the microorganisms are surviving. Right children? So let's see here. Based on the characteristic features of the microorganisms, children, they are going to divide, they are categorized, classified as 5 types, right children? Based on the differences in their characteristics, and some of there are photosynthetic, some of are saprophytic. What is photosynthetic? They can able to prepare can for the food. They did not depend on the other organisms, but mostly the microorganisms are depend on, not mostly, they are saprophytic also, which means they are, you know, they are parasites. They are depending on the some other you know, organisms, right children. So some are photosynthetic also, some are, you know, saprophytic also. They are dependent for the food, you know, that is the, so that are the based on those characteristic features. Microorganisms are classified based on their similarities and dissimilarities. They are categorized into 5 major groups. How many children? 5 major groups based on their similarities and dissimilarities, based on their characteristic features like they are photosynthetic and also, you know, they are saprophytic features. They are classified into 5 groups. What are they? So they are bacteria. 1 minute children. They are bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae and viruses. These are the 5 major groups of microorganisms are classified based on their similarities and dissimilarities, based on the characteristic features of their photosynthetic and you know, saprophytic features. They are classified into 5 main groups. What are they? Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae and viruses. Children, as you are studying the first time about the microorganisms, children, you know, you can you know, remember with the help of this mnemonic. What is this mnemonic? Big fat parrots always visit. What is meant by big? B means bacteria, fat, F means fungi, parrots, P means protozoa, A means algae, V means virus. See children, with the help of this mnemonic you can easily remember the 5 groups of the 5 classification of the microorganisms. They are bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae and viruses, children. You know, you can easily remember with the help of this mnemonic. Big fat parrots always visit. B means bacteria, F means fungi, P means protozoa, A means algae, V means viruses. Right children? So this is about the little introduction of the microorganisms, children. So before we going to start the, we are now you know, we are in this microorganisms chapter, friendly and foe. We are going to discuss about these 5 microorganisms in a very clear way, in detailed way, right children. So we are going to study about the bacteria also, fungi also, protozoa also, algae also and virus also. I have got their habitat, nutrition, you know, reproduction, how they are behaving and all that, how many types they are divided into, we are how in what way they are useful to us, in what way they are harmful to us. We are going to know about all this in a clear way, children. This is about the microorganisms introduction, children. I hope you all clear about this introduction. See, if they ask the question, so let's see here. They ask the question, name the groups in which organisms can be found, you know, in which organisms are divided. You can answer the 1 minute. Name the classification of microorganisms, they asked me. They classified into, you can write the answer as, they are classified into 5 groups. What are they? Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae and viruses. If they ask the question, where these microorganisms are found, if they ask the question like here, like, you know, what are the microorganisms, where they are found, you can write it is a microscopic single celled organisms which cannot see with our naked eye. Those organisms we call it as microorganisms, right children, or microbes. The study of microorganisms we call it as microbiology, right children. The scientists who study the microbiology or the microorganisms, we call them as microbiologists, right children. Where they found? They found in everywhere, in water, air, land, whatever. In adverse conditions also they grow, you know, in non-adverse conditions also they happily grow, because they are omnipresent, they are everywhere. The bacteria is everywhere, children. This is about the introduction, children. So let's start to discuss about the first part is bacteria, right children? See. 1 minute children. And you know, what are the some exceptional cases bacteria can be seen through our naked eye also, with our naked eye also, which organism, which microorganism can see? The answer of this question is Theomargartia namibiensis. We have studied, these are the one exceptional case because they can see the naked eye. We have studied that microorganisms cannot see their naked eye, but this microorganisms can seen with our naked eye. So what is that? Theomargartia namibiensis, right children? So and why the microorganisms are so strong? How they can affect the whole organism like animals, plants also, because of they have hard outer covering called cyst, because they have the hard outer covering called cyst, right children? This is about the introduction. Now we discuss about the first classification group of the microorganisms, bacteria, right children? So first we know about the bacteria. What are bacteria? They are single celled organisms children, and they are we also call as single or unicellular, all same children. So don't confuse about that. 1 minute. Okay. Bacteria are single celled or unicellular organisms. Uni means also one. So bacteria, the first classification of the microorganisms is bacteria. They are single celled or unicellular organisms children, and they have cell wall. Because of the cell wall only the microorganisms can survive. They can affect the whole organisms like plants and animals. The smallest unicellular organisms are affecting the multicellular organisms because of they have the strong cell wall children. So see here, they have cell wall. They are considered to be related more with the plants and animals than with the animals, because see, 1 minute, why they are said they are considered to be related with more plants than animals? Why they said this statement, right children? Because the microorganisms have outer covering layer we call as cyst, right children? Here the bacteria, you know, they have, because they have the cell wall, the outer covering have the cell wall, thick cell wall, right children? So they have the cell wall, that is why the bacteria is more stronger, right children? Because of the cell wall only the bacteria can affect the whole organisms of plants and animals, right? So see, why they are more related to the plants, why not with animals? See what they said, than with the animals they are more related to plants, they said. Why the statement is said like that? Because plants having the cell wall, animals doesn't have cell wall. So if they ask the question in the competitive exams, they are going to ask the question which, you know, in the given following which having the cell wall, they asked me. See here, they are given the three options. One is plant, one is, you know, bacteria or microorganisms, C is animal cells. Here the options given, A is A, B, C, B is A and B, and C is only C. If they given the options like this, so the answer is, because the plant having the cell wall and bacteria also having the cell wall, the answer is absolutely, you know, the answer is absolutely A and B, right children? The answer is absolutely A and B, because these two having the, you know, cell wall. That is why A and B is the answer for this question. In the competitive field they will ask like this type of questions. That is why, you know, in CBSE every line is very important to understand, right children? So see here, what they said, that is why they are having the cell wall. They are having the cell wall. That is why plants cell also having the cell wall. That is why they are more related to the plants than with the animals, because the animals it doesn't have cell wall, right children? Then because of the cell wall only the plants are withstanding in the rigid way, right children? Then how the animals are you know, withstanding? We are also moving organisms, right? We are moving organisms. So the plants are not moving organisms, but they are rigid in a strong. Then what, with the help of how we are withstanding? Because with the help of skeleton children. With the help of the skeleton only we are, withstand and moving, like you are moving one side to other side. Right. In the third statement they included the first kingdom of living organisms. So, they have in 5 kingdom classification will be there, children. So 5 kingdom classification. In that classification, these are the first living organisms. First kingdom. Bacteria placed in a first kingdom in Monera. The first kingdom of the 5 kingdom classification is Monera. In that, bacteria is included. Right, children? Bacteria included in the first kingdom of living organisms, the kingdom name called Monera. What the kingdom name called, children? Monera. And they are considered to be the first living organisms evolved on earth. So what they said, Monera are the kingdom, the first living organisms evolved on the earth. If they ask the question like, which kingdom are considered to be a first living organism, they asked him, which kingdom? Monera is the first kingdom, first living organisms that evolved in the earth. Right, children? They are the simplest organisms, as they are single celled, children. They found on earth. The microorganisms can also, the unicellular organisms are also considered as the ancestors of the multicellular organisms, children. So they believed that with the unicellular organisms only, the multicellular organisms like humans, species of various different species are evolved. So the ancestors of the multicellular organisms are unicellular organisms, children. That is why they are the simplest living organisms found on earth everywhere. Right, children? So coming to this is about the brief introduction of the bacteria, children. So let's see here the habitat. What is meant by habitat? Habitat is nothing but home, children. See, home. The place we can able to survive, we call it as home. That is nothing but environment. The environment which is suitable for us, that we call it as habitat. So what is the habitat of the bacteria? We have to know about it. Right, children? Where they are found, in which place they are very suitable about. Right, children? As their organism occurs, grow and reproduce. Where the place of they can reproduce, they can able to divide, they can able to evolve their own species. Right, children? They can able to spread their population. Right, children? So where they grow, they can ability to grow and reproduce, successfully termed as habitat. Here they given as a statement, what is habitat? Habitat is nothing but, children, the home, the environment which can they grow and reproduce. Right, children? So here the term they given, the place where organism occurs, grows and reproduce successfully is termed as habitat. Right, children? Where the bacteria is found? Right. See, the bacteria found anywhere, everywhere, because the microorganisms are omnipresent. Right, children? So they are found in everywhere and anywhere, children. They are found inside our body also, inside our body and outside our body also. Madam, is that what bacteria is present inside our body? We have to know. You are very fascinating about it right now, children. See here. And outside our body, they are outside of the body. What are they? Air, soil, water. So you are having the doubt of what bacteria is present inside our body. Is the bacteria present inside our body? Absolutely, yes, children. Because there is no place on the earth the microorganisms are not there. Right, children? They survive in harsh conditions also, like drought conditions also and heat conditions also. Right, children? So inside our body, the bacteria name called E. coli, Escherichia coli, is present in small intestine. Right, children? So if they ask the question which bacteria is present in our body, means you can answer the Escherichia coli. E. coli is the bacteria present inside our body in the small intestine, children. So see here, they can survive in harsh conditions also and drought and heat also. Because of how they can survive in the hot and drought conditions also, in the very hot conditions like volcanic eruptions, like, children, the place where the very hot conditions will be there, that place also bacteria can survive because of the outer covering, because of the cell wall. Right, children? This is about the habitat. So they are saying some are anaerobic bacteria, and some are aerobic bacteria. They are saying some are anaerobic bacteria and some are aerobic bacteria. What is it meant by anaerobic and aerobic? Right children? So, the bacteria which can respire without oxygen also. That doesn't require any oxygen. That doesn't require any oxygen to respire. Right children? Respire means breathing. Right children? The anaerobic bacteria can respire without oxygen. They do not require oxygen. Those we call it as anaerobic bacteria children. And other are aerobic bacteria. They require oxygen. The bacteria which require oxygen. Right children? Those we call it as aerobic bacteria. The bacteria which does not require oxygen, we call them as anaerobic bacteria. Here the given, see here, some are anaerobic bacteria, some are aerobic bacteria. So, anaerobic bacteria can respire without oxygen, that doesn't require any oxygen. But aerobic bacteria need oxygen for the respiration. These are the two types of bacteria are there. One is aerobic bacteria and anaerobic bacteria children. This is the habitat of the bacteria. Right children? So, coming to the shape and size, see. Coming to the shape and size, they are different shapes. What are they? They are different shapes also. They are different in size also children. I hope you are all visible this. Right? See. See here. So, they are in different shapes and sizes also. What are the shapes? So, what they are called as? Right children? So, if they are rod shaped, this is the rod shaped children. If they are rod shaped, we call them as bacilli. If they are rod shaped, we call them as bacilli. This is the plural form children. In singular, we call them as bacillus. We call them as bacillus. Right children? Others are spherical. See here, spherical means round, round, round. Right children? So, others are spherical and they are called cocci. In the plural form, we call it as cocci. In singular form, we call it as coccus. Right children? Here the cocci. Right. See, some are spiral shaped. What is meant by spiral shaped here? See. Right children? They are spiral shaped. So, they are called as spirilla in a plural form and singular form they called as spirillum. And still others, so some other shapes also there like comma shaped. We call them as vibrio. Right children? So, this is about the shape and sizes of the bacteria. They are different shapes and sizes. Mainly they are rod shaped are called as bacilli in plural form and singular form we call them as bacillus. And other are spherical children. And other are spherical. They are called as cocci and singular form we call them as coccus. Some are spiral shaped. They are spirilla. In singular form we call them as spirillum. And still other comma shaped are there we call it as vibrio. Right children? So, according to the shape and size, see here, if they are grouped, what they call them as? Right children? Their size may be varied to, what the size of the bacteria? They vary to 0.2 to 100 microns. Right children? That much the smallest and the size of the bacteria. The size may vary to 0.2 to 100 microns. 1 micron is equal to 1 millionth of the meter. 1 millionth of the meter children. So, cocci are which is the smallest among them is cocci are the very smallest bacteria. Cocci are the very smallest bacteria. They can be found in pairs. They can be found in also pairs. If they are in pairs, we call them as diplococcus. If they are in chains, they called as streptococcus. Or in groups, they call them as staphylococcus. Other forms are also found in singly also. Right children? This is about the size vary about 0.2 to 100 microns children. So, because of based on the size, how many shapes are there children? They are rod shaped, bacilli, right children? They are spherical shaped, cocci, right children? Spiral shaped, spirillum, right children? These are the shapes. The size is up to 0.2 to 1000 microns. And cocci are the smallest bacteria. They are asked the question like what is the smallest bacteria? Is the cocci are the smallest bacteria. They can be found in pairs. If they are two pairs, they are diplococcus. If they are a chain, we call it as a streptococcus. If they are grouped many together, we call it as streptococcus. They are found in singly also, right children? So what up to we studied it children? We studied the what is bacteria. Bacteria having the cell wall, and they are unicellular organisms first, right children? They are unicellular organisms and they have the cell wall. They are more related with plants than the animals. And the first kingdom of the, in the 5 kingdom classification, right children, they are kept into the first kingdom of classification called Monera, right children? They are considered to be the first living organisms on the earth. The bacteria considered as a first living organisms evolved on the earth. They are found in everywhere children, right children? Coming to their habitat, habitat means the organism which can able to grow and reproduce efficiently, right children? We call it as habitat. And the bacteria found in everywhere. They are found in harsh conditions, hot conditions. They are found in air, soil, water also. They can serve in drought and heat conditions also, right children? There are two types. What are they? Anaerobic bacteria, aerobic bacteria. What is anaerobic bacteria? They can respire without the oxygen also. We call them as anaerobic bacteria. What is meant by aerobic bacteria? Aerobic bacteria is those bacteria which can respire with oxygen. We call them as aerobic bacteria, right children? And coming to their shape and sizes, they are classified into 3 types, right children? Coccus, bacillus and spirillum. Other shapes also, they are comma shaped, we call it as vibrio, right children? So with the rod shaped, we call them as bacilla, we call them as, bacilli. In plural form, we call them as bacilli, and singular form, we call them as bacillus. Under the spherical shape, we call them as coccus in plural form. In singular form, we call them as coccus, right children? So coming to the last one, they are spiral shaped. They look like the spiral shaped children. So those we call them as, in the singular form, we call them as spirillum, and still the comma shaped bacteria, we call them as vibrio, right children? The size is way up to 0.2 to 100 microns, and the coccus has the smallest bacteria. They can be found in pairs, we call them as diplococci. If they are found in chains, we call them as streptococcus, and if they are found in the groups, we call them as streptococcus. This is up to the today's session children. Let's discuss about some more content of the bacteria in the next session. I hope you clear about this today's session children. So if they have any doubts about the introduction and all that, just comment in the comment section children. I hope you all clear about this, right children? Before ending the session, I would like to remind very important news for you children. We have started the, 1 minute. Okay. We have started the foundation course from the 8th standard children. We have started the foundation course from the 6th to 8th standard people. So both SSC also and CBSE also. The next batch is going to start from the April 15th onwards. So don't miss this opportunity children. The first free classes are free for you children. If you want to join through online mode, you can, the scrolling down number is there, no? Contact with that number, we can give you the access of the classes from the app name called Neet World children. So I hope you all clear about this today's session, and the main motto of the foundation course of by us are conceptual learning children, based on the exams of Neet and JEE, right children? The concepts to be well understood through animations, videos and all that, right children? The one-on-one interactions will be there. All your doubts will be clear through us, right children? And the subjects covered by us is physics, chemistry, mathematics and biology children. And children, so don't miss this opportunity. If they want to come to the offline mode, it is represented Narayani G, Hyderabad, near metro station children. I hope you all aware of this information. I hope you are soon seen in the classes children. Okay, thank you.